So a friend of mine asked me, why is it so hard to get an interview for a job in cybersecurity? I know the guy personally, he's very capable, has over 10 years of experience, so I asked him to show me his CV, and lo and behold, it was literally one of the worst CVs I've ever seen. I'm gonna show you his CV and how to fix it. Please don't make these mistakes, as they are so easy to fix. Mistake number one, the address. If we look at the top of the CV here, we can see that he shared the street number, his house number, and all of that stuff. This doesn't really add value. We don't really care what street or house you live in. You only need to put the name of the city and your zip code. That's it. No more information. Mistake number two, professional email address. Don't use something like Metallica123 or Sandman or Fresh Prince. Use something really simple and straightforward, like your first name, last name, and a number at gmail.com for ease of use, or any service provider. You'd think this is straightforward, but you'd be surprised to see the amount of stuff that I've seen. Mistake number three, remove unnecessary lines. So as you can see, Alex here wrote, innovative solutions to complex problem. Now what the fuck is this statement even doing here? It doesn't add any value, it takes up space, and we know you copied it from some template. So this is how I changed the header. As you see, this is more to the point and a lot shorter, which is what we want from this section. I want to know the name of the city that you live in, and I want to be able to call or email you. That's it. No need for any headlines or big fancy statements. Mistake number four, generic objective. Alex here wrote, use my critical thinking, people, and technical skills to solve complex problems. This is so generic that it could literally apply to any job. We don't know if this CV is a cybersecurity CV or it's a system admin CV. It's really not clear. So if you want to write an objective, which is by the way optional, but if you decide to write it, make it very targeted to the job. So if you're applying to a security operations center analyst job, this is what you can write as an example. To work in a security operations center as a threat analyst, utilizing my threat management and incident response skills. So this tells me that you know what the job is about. You already mentioned your threat management and incident response skills, which are key areas of the job that you're targeting. Now I know that this CV is an incident response CV or a security analyst CV, and it's not some generic IT CV. Mistake number five, skills and ability. Again, as you can see here, it's super generic. Again, it's just a copy paste from some template. This is the time for you to use some keywords that are extremely relevant to the role. So if the role is asking for Amazon AWS Cloud and you happen to do AWS training, you can say that I have Amazon AWS Cloud expertise, I know Amazon AWS security. If you've done a SANS training course, you can say I know the SANS incident response methodology. All of that, list them in a bullet points. This is an example. This is how I would write it personally. Cybersecurity incident response, SANS methodology, cloud security, AWS and Microsoft Azure, threat management using the MITRE framework, automation of tasks using Python. Even if you haven't done automation of tasks in your current job using Python, if you have done that in your own lab, or if you've learned Python and you've been using it on the side, this means you already have Python technical skills. It's not rocket science, as long as you actually know how to do it. Do not lie, don't add stuff that you don't know how to do. But if you're confident and you know how to do some programming and scripting, add it there, it doesn't harm, especially if the job you're applying to is asking for those skills. Mistake number six, experience. This is the most important part of the CV. This is what people look for to know what you actually can do, where you've worked, and what you've been doing recently. Let's have a look at Alex's CV here. He says system administration, identity and access management, security event management, vulnerability management, Tenable, Kali, asset discovery, whatever. As you can see, this doesn't really tell me anything. So when you say system administration, what is it that you've been doing? Was it Linux? Was it Windows? Did you manage firewalls? Were you just watching the lights to make sure the systems are on? Did you do any migration, upgrades? We need to know more, especially in Alex's case. He's been in the job for over 10 years. So just reading this section, I have no idea if he's just been sitting there in a network operations center watching lights on, or if he's been managing the entire environment. Now, I know this person, and I know he was literally the only one managing a whole of server fleet, and I know what he can do, but his CV didn't reflect that. This is how I would frame it. An infrastructure engineer responsible for managing 200 mission-critical servers, ensure a 24/7 availability. My responsibilities include system administration, Amazon AWS cloud instances, vulnerability management using Tenable NESAs, identity and access management, and asset management. So this gives me a brief view that this guy is not only a system administrator, he was also responsible for the security of the systems he was managing. I also know what kind of systems, I know what kind of tools he was using. I'll add to that, I added key contributions. So rigorous fine-tuning of the Fortinet next generation firewall and Imperva WAF application firewall, which reduced the number of security incidents by at least 50%. This is important. There is an element of storytelling. So number one, I demonstrated that I worked with a next-gen firewall, Fortinet in this case, but this also tells people that you can work with other next-gen firewalls. I also mentioned Imperva WAF, web application firewall. But here's the important bit. I reduced security incident by 50%. Management love that. You not only have firewalls and WAFs out there, but you use it to produce value. This shows that you're someone with some leadership skills. You're not just monitoring stuff, you're even improving things. Point number two, created incident response plans and trained team members on incident response techniques using SANS incident response methodology. Even if you haven't done the SANS training, the SANS incident response methodology is free. You can download it online. You can look it up. This also demonstrates that this person has created these incident response playbooks and also has trained other team members. Again, this demonstrates seniority and initiative. It shows that this person understands the methodology, he used it, he also trained other people on it. I say led ISO 27001 compliance certification process, included updating security controls, addressing audit findings. So again, another important bit that shows that this person has worked with auditors. So instead of being lazy and just said bullet points ISO 27000 or I worked with auditors, no, it shows here what you actually have done, that you know what security controls are, you know how to address audit findings. Again, these are very important parts of information security jobs. So you list them as tasks that you've already done, assuming you actually have done this stuff and you're not lying. Mistake number 7, industry training. So as you can see, this section doesn't tell me if he did the training or the certification. So I have no idea if he, for example, has done SANS GIAC pen testing, the training course, or if he passed the certification. Now I know the person and I know he passed the certification. So the way I would write it, I'd just say, all right, this is GIAC certified penetration tester, GIAC certified intrusion analyst. Again, it says Microsoft Azure Fundamentals. I don't know if this is a training course or a certification. Just be specific with that. If you've just done a training, says it's a training. If you've done a certification, you can just post the certification name. You don't need to post the training or the studying that you've done. The last one is Dimension Data, ITIL version 3 Foundation, 2008. The way I would write it, I'd just say ITIL version 3 Foundation. I wouldn't write Dimension Data or 2008. We don't really need to know the year that you've done the training or the certification, and it's not really relevant. Mistake number 8, interests and hobbies. He lists here MMA and boxing and basketball. I personally don't want to know about your hobbies. If people want to know about your hobbies in the interview, they will ask you. Adding things to your hobby like listening to music or swimming doesn't really add any value. You're a mature adult applying for a professional job. People don't really care so much about hobbies. They might ask you in some interviews, but I personally would remove it just to save space. CV should be straight to the point about your expertise and your interest in the job. Mistake number 9, referees. It says here referees available upon request. Again, this is completely redundant. We will ask you about referees if you've passed the interview and we want to move forward. We know that referees are available upon request. Again, redundant, no need for it. Mistake number 10, this is the final mistake. As you can see throughout the CV, it was extremely generic. This person was a bit lazy. He didn't spend time looking at the job he's applying to and tailoring the CV to that job. So before you apply, read the job description, look what they're looking for, and tailor the CV to that job. Spend some time on it. Don't be lazy. I also recommend using a template. You can buy a template online. There are so many. They're quite cheap. Use it. It's a lot cleaner. Be straight to the point, highlight the skills that you have that applies to that job. I hope this was helpful for you. As always, if you have any question, leave it in the comment below.